Good job, a wonderful family, yet there was still an emptiness inside. Our next guest, his name is Doug Ross, was such a man. He was a bank manager, was and still is a bank manager, but something dramatic was missing from his life, and he found it. Welcome, Doug Ross, to 100 Huntley Street. Doug, good to have you with us today. I can't help thinking that in the minds of many people, a bank manager is really someone who hasn't made. He's very assertive. He sits behind the big oak desk, and people come in asking for wise counsel and asking for much more than that most of the time, asking for some funding to help them with their personal lives. Hard to imagine that such a man could have an emptiness inside. Tell us about your family and your background, first of all.
Well, Bruce, I could probably start off by saying that I was raised on a farm in the Margaree Valley region of Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. And my early years were fairly normal. I was very involved in the church, and all the church groups. I served on church groups in executive capacities, and just very involved in church work. And nothing unusual happened until I reached the age of 18, and I moved away to work in the bank. First time I left home. And I guess invariably what often happens when you move away from home, there's different situations. You're away from your family for the first time, and I became exposed to alcohol, new friends, and new situations that just made a lot of changes in my life. And
peer pressure without the support at home to
yes, that's right.
Keep you on the straight and narrow.
That's right. And the alcohol, I don't really consider that I was a problem drinker, but I could see that it was getting progressively worse over the years. And I'm sure that if my life hadn't taken a turn for the better, that I don't know where I'd be today, and I don't know where I was going.
Now, how was this reflected in your day-to-day living? Were there problems in the family, or were things just kind of going along pretty much normal, but just a void there?
Well, I found that everything was reasonably normal as far as I was concerned, but I went to church every Sunday, and I was involved in all the church work, church committees, sang in the choir, but all week, whenever the opportunity was there, I was out drinking with the boys and drinking at parties, and it was just becoming a problem. My family had affected the relationship with my family, and I could see that that was getting worse and could have led to some very severe problems.
When did you first realize that this was something that you had to do something about, or when did you actively begin seeking an answer?
Well, I would say probably up to around 1979, 1980. I was invited to a meeting of an organization called the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship. It was a breakfast meeting. This was in May of '81, and I knew it was something to do with spiritual matters because of the name. And my sole purpose in going to that meeting was it was a businessmen's meeting. I thought I could develop connections toward work.
And it's a free lunch?
It was a free breakfast.
Free breakfast,
it was free ticket. And, it was a beautiful Sunday morning in May, and I expected to see maybe 30 or 40 people in that ballroom at the Holiday Inn that morning in St. John's. And you can imagine my amazement. I walked in there, and there was about 300 people. And they're all happy. And the speaker was a bank robber. Of all people. And it just completely blew me away. These people had something that I felt that I wanted. I was missing love. That's what it was. It was I could feel the love. It touched me, and it stayed with me ever since. After I left that meeting that morning, I just had a new love for people and for my family, and it just changed my whole situation around.
Now, what made the difference? It wasn't something you ate that morning, I'm sure. There was a turning point there. There was a decision that was made. Now, many people can probably identify. They're born and raised in the church, and they may still be active in a church right now, but perhaps they're sensing that, I'm just going through the motions, and life is just kind of week after week, day by day, and there is no real excitement.
Yes.
What kind of decision was made that turned you around at that breakfast?
Well, I believe, before I mention that, I should probably just say that I'm very thankful at this point that my parents always saw that I went to church. I was always involved in church when I was growing up. And I'm very thankful as well to a minister that we had in our church. He was there for approximately 20 years, Dr. Tom Bellis. He's living in retirement in New Brunswick now. but he had a real burden for people and really cared about people, especially the young people. And I know that he touched my life, just the things that he taught us and watched over us, sort of thing. And then there were other situations that I lost my train of thought.
Well, I'm just wondering how, once you made a decision and your life and your spiritual walk was revitalized, did your attitude towards church change? Did it make you a better bank manager?
Well, it did, in the sense that I was able to share my faith with people in the bank.